Hello, everyone. This is the Monkey Nut Punch podcast. We've been away for a while, but we're back just trying some new things and seeing how things go. So we're going to exclusively focus on talking about Moon Knight because we didn't think it was the terrible garbage that some people have made it out to be. It wasn't brilliant, but it wasn't garbage. Middling, yeah. So, Keith, have you watched all of Moon Knight?
No, I didn't watch any of it. I watched the whole lot. Yeah. Yes, I did. I watched it. I watched it religiously as it came out because I kind of enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. It was. I'll be honest with you. It wasn't. I felt that it would have worked better as a film.
Yes, it could have worked as a film. I think it would have been the best thing that Marvel have done, really, since Infinity War, with the exception of Spider-Man 3. But as a series, it was certainly the best Marvel series on Disney Plus. I quite enjoyed Hawkeye. I know people have got a bug up their ass about it being a bait and switch, but the actress, how can you not like Haley, what's her face, in Hawkeye? So that, therefore, but with this, I like the actor, and I think it worked. I hear rumors that this is a one-off, which, considering the way it ended, we need more.
Look, I'm not saying that I enjoyed it. It did have problems.
Yes.
But it was enjoyable. So let's just talk about this. Just do the intro first. So the intro of the thing is you've got this guy. It starts off and you follow Stephen Grant, and he's working as a gift shop employee in the London Museum, and he has a sleeping disorder, and he finds out that he has another personality in there. Now, let's talk about let's keep on Stephen, Mark, and Conchu as we start off. So you've got Stephen, whose English accent is a little grating, but if you tune your brain into thinking this is the a person with an accent who's got a mental disorder, it makes perfect sense. you can let it go for that.
It's funny because in the trailer, it's funny you mention that, because in the trailer, the one criticism was his British accent. They were sort of like, "Oh, he's Dick Van Dyking it," and he turned around. Oscar Isaacs in an interview said there is a reason why it's bad, that it's intentionally bad, and when in the first episode, you don't really know it until towards the end, and even then, it's only hinted at. But then you get it, and that it was intentionally bad works. It does work. Even as a British person listening to that accent, it makes sense, and I liked. If he can't do a good British accent, I like the explanation.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. It was a bit great, but after a while, it became acceptable. So yeah, you start off with him, and it's nice because the original Moon Knight character, it was more philanthropic billionaire trying to help the world, etc. And just having him just start off and just being basic run-of-the-mill person, I think worked more for me. I know it's like it's not true to the character. Okay, it's not true to the character. I don't know Moon Knight that well. I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I can understand. I completely understand if that's the one thing that you're going, I don't like it because it doesn't fit with the character. That's fine. But just on its own, as just a piece of artwork and whatnot, I enjoyed that aspect of the fact that he had a shit life, and all of a sudden he had like the call to adventure almost. I see what they were trying to do with it. I don't think it quite worked, but it was funny just watching him through that first episode as he is blinking out from being Mark. Yeah, and he may even went into another personality at points, but we'll cover that right towards the end. but yeah, that was good. And you had Conchu talking away in his voice, in his head, sorry, telling him, goes, "Oh no, we need, you could send this bastard to sleep. We need the proper person up and running." And it's like, okay, cool. So yeah, that was it. It was good in for that. And Oscar Isaac is really good to watch as an actor.
Oh, he's
I think
hugely
that helped.
charismatic, and as an actor, even in the worst of things, X-Men, you still kind of like him, even though that movie was dreadful. And yeah, I don't think it would have been as enjoyable had it not been Oscar Isaac. You really like Stephen, and even Mark. You at first he's very abrasive, and you wonder, and it all gets explained at the end. I loved those last 2 episodes in respect of how they bonded and how they came to accept each other. But yeah, look, it wasn't without its problems. But you made a comment there about saying that people have got a bug up their butt that he isn't the same as the comic books. Look, this is the MCU. It's not the first time the MCU's done that. In fact, the MCU's done that quite a bit. Tony Stark isn't really like the Tony Stark in the comic books. There's numerous other characters within there. Hawkeye isn't the Hawkeye of the comic books. Hell, even Black Widow wasn't the Black Widow of the comic books. No one bitched and moaned about that then. I think Moon Knight's been given an unfair bashing, because genuinely I don't think it was that bad. And if you can look at it with clear lenses and not take into account the rest of what's going on in the MCU, and I get why people are pissed. This actually was entertaining. It did what it was meant to do. Is it without problem? No. I mean, the Layla character was very generic.
We'll save the Layla. We'll leave the Layla character. We'll just keep it on Mark.
But Stephen and Mark, the relationship between the two, the fact that there was one actor playing both of these, and yet they managed to basically convey a relationship between the two of them, I thought was actually very clever and very well done. That aspect of it. It kept me entertained. I think moments in the 5th episode dragged on, but for the most part, it kept me entertained. Yeah, from the Stephen and Mark point of view, I don't think I've got much criticism. I genuinely enjoyed the relationship. I genuinely enjoyed the progression of the relationship as well. Yeah, because here's something. It had progression. It had a beginning, a middle, and kind of an end.
Yes.
Although not really. But it had that thing that is a rare thing, especially in the MCU.
Character develops from start to finish. Yeah. Because it starts off that the two of them are not aware of each other, and then you go through it, and then they go to this point where they're now fighting for control. Yeah, so they're trying to get control. So Mark's trying to take over. And it's like, no, I'm in control now, Stephen. You can do one. Yeah, which is fine, and that makes it more interesting. And then you kind of get to the bit where they start working together, because it's like, kind of, I know nothing about Egypt, so I kind of need you, Stephen. So then they swap over, and okay, there was a kind of pointless thing, because you can get an app to find out where the stars were a million years ago. I've got it on my phone. It's really good, actually. I recommend it. So you had those bits there, and then you had the bit where you had the first bit where he gets pushed into the mental asylum. Yeah. And it's kind of Legion-esque, where it's just like, kind of, you don't know whether it's real or not. And then you move through there, and you see all the kind of little elements and stuff that he's been making up along his way. And then you get the proper reveal of how the Stephen personality comes along, because I'm talking about other people giving it kind of bad raps and stuff. The Gary from Nerdrotic turned around and said, "Oh, that Hollywood has finally got the memo about bad dads." So now they've moved on to bad mums, where his mum was an arsehole to him because he killed his younger brother, and then all of a sudden he snaps, and the Stephen personality, which is kind of Indiana Jones-esque, yeah. He's a British Indiana Jones, so you can't, or Alan Quatermain, or whatever character then takes over, and he's quite neat and whatnot. And he kind of, as Stephen said, he was the one that led the better life, if you know what I mean. So it's like kind of when everything was good, it was Stephen. He had good memories of his mum, etc. But when it was Mark, he didn't have that, and that I like that. That gives a character a bit more bloody depth than you get in most of these things. Yeah. So to compare him to Captain Marvel, yeah, I was always awesome. Yeah. No, he wasn't always awesome. He went off. He wanted to get out of the house, so he naturally left and joined not the circus but the military, and that's where he got his training and bits from. And then the Mark personality then starts kind of taking over and whatnot. So that was really good. There was one bit in it where Mark did something really out of character, and that's when they came across the hippo. Yeah. Now the Stephen character, him going yeah, made sense. Yeah, but you got the sense that Mark would be like more like a fuck sort of thing. Yeah, I know it's Disney and needs to be PG-13 and it needs to cut out on some of the blood and bits, and then there were also the indications of a third personality, which we'll get towards later, that was kind of locked away in a sarcophagus, shall we say. But you had that. Then you had Conchu, which was voiced by F. Murray Abrams. Great voice. I love the voice. That's a good voice to listen to. Yeah, he had like a real good thing. And I don't know if the Conchu character was a dude in a suit and they just green screened out the person part of it, so it'd have all the gaps and stuff. I'm hoping
I don't know if it was mocap. It could have been mocap. I'm not sure, but yeah, I get what you mean now that you say Mark's reaction to the hippo. But to be honest, I was laughing at the hippo, just turning up and going bye. Although her voice grated on me towards the end. I was trying to work out who that was. I don't know who voiced it.
Oh, hang on a second. I've got it up here. It was never heard of her before. Antonia Salib.
No, I've never heard of her.
No idea what she's been in. Never seen her or heard her in something else, but she had kind of cutesy British nanny voice, if that makes any sense. So yeah, you had that character there. So things that are different with Moon Knight. Moon Knight in the comic books carries a pet. Right, there's like two versions of Moon Knight. Yeah, there's the version that was, I think, all the way up until the 2000s, and he didn't have split personality disorder. He was just a gun-toting person who assumed 3 personality types in order for him to do what he wanted, which is fine. But I think that the split personality thing added more layers to the character. It made him a bit more interesting. I like having that. It's the diversity word, which I don't like using, because it's been used for excuses for horrible things. Yeah, but it was it worked because I felt it worked. I know that there will be people saying, "Oh, it wasn't like that," and up until 2004 or 6 or 7 or whatever. But it's otherwise just like he's Batman or is it Ragman in DC, the Egyptian one, where he's got like rags on him. It's kind of like that. So that's interesting.
Yes, it is Ragman. Yeah. Yes, yeah.
So it's weird because it's like kind of trying to it's just trying to find like some bits on Moon Knight, because all I knew was I watched a video from Valiant Comics and I read some of the wiki.
Well, Mark worked for the CIA, if I remember rightly. He was a CIA operative, and they do hint at that.
I think he was he was a contractor. Yeah. So he's a mercenary, but we did stuff for the CIA.
And there were then, yes, you're right. It then went with 3 clear split personalities. Again, the TV series appears to move away from that, and this is why I'm partly desperate for a second season, because I think a second season of this, considering how this ended, could be very, very interesting, and something quite unique. And again, I think if they're going to do it, Oscar Isaacs again is the perfect person to do this. But you see, in the books, in the comics, I know that all three personalities have their unique abilities and stuff, but they are all on the same side. Whereas, spoilers, the way this leaves us is that the Jake personality is very much an antagonist, and that could be interesting. Where you have Mark and Stephen ganging up against Jake, but all in the same body. Now that to me is an interesting concept that we haven't really seen, and I like the fact that they've made Jake the bad guy, or at least that's what they've insinuated at the end. That to me is an interesting
Punisher side of Moon Knight, if that makes any sense. The one who's going to do the killing. He's not squeamish.
Yeah, but the other two have a big problem with that. So, but are we going to... I want them to do a second season, but the rumor is that Oscar Isaacs was only contracted for one season, but this needs a second season. I mean, you could end it on the second season, but this above all other shows needs a second season. We don't need a second season really from anything else. I know Loki's getting a second season, but we don't really need a second season. This is the one that I really want to see a second season of, because I'm intrigued.
I'd rather see a film. I'd rather them have a nice tight film rather than a TV series, because there's some fillery bits in it which needed to go.
I agree, but I don't know. MCU films at the moment, I don't know. I get what you mean, but
someone saw Doctor Strange, I take it.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. I haven't seen it yet. I was gonna get up and watch it this morning at 10 o'clock, and then I decided I'd rather lie on the bed. I got out of bed, I had breakfast and everything, and I just lay down the bed and stopped watching YouTube videos. Okay, so you got Moon Knight, the three personalities and stuff. We'll talk about Jake towards the end, and then we've got the Arthur Harrow character, who was played by Ethan Hawke. And I'll be honest with you, it really should have just been those two as the stars, and everyone then hung off them, for all of their decisions and bits of the two of them. He played it really well. You felt that he was zealoty, I think is the best way of describing him. He's a very kind of zealot style kind of person. And you got the fact that he'd have followers and this, that, and the other, and I liked that. And he was trying to wake up Ammit. It's weird because most of my Greek gods, this is the sad thing, is I know through Stargate SG-1. I only realised that when I started watching this, because it was like Anubis, Apophis, and I'm sitting there naming all the Greek gods, Ra, Horus, and Ket, and all these things. And I'm like, kind of, I only know these because I watched Stargate SG-1, which is quite, it's a terrible thing to put across. But the Ethan Hawke was trying to work up, and I felt a little the Devourer of the Dead is supposed to be the one who does all the punishment, because Ammit was the dog. I don't know if it was the one, because if you watched Egyptian Gods, they had the two people working on the morticians, and they do the thing with the feather and the thingy to keep tricking Ammit every time. And that's my only reference that I've got for Ammit. Was it be the one that if the scales didn't balance, it would gobble you up? And I don't even know if that's correct. That could be completely wrong, but I'm going to say that's what I know because of Egyptian gods. I'm hoping it's wrong because, yeah.
I mean, Ethan Hawke he was. I thought he was very good. I thought he was. He was a good protagonist. You kind of didn't like him, which is what he was meant to do, but he was interesting. He was three-dimensional. He wasn't just a two-dimensional bad guy, which is unusual in the Marvel universe. Again, no, I liked him. I liked him. I generally, again, I liked his ending. Although it's slightly ambiguous. You don't 100% know how his ending ends up, but yeah, again, he's second season.
I think this is why I think if it would have been a film, it would have had a tighter script and we would have had more stark lines around the characters and bits. Now we're going to get to the one character that just irritated the crap out of me, and that's the Layla character. And this is the one thing that all the detractors who've watched Moon Knight actually fucking hit on the head. The actress, she could be a lovely person, but in this was crap. I didn't like her. I felt that she detracted from the storyline rather than add to it. Yeah, she turns up with divorce papers and stuff, and it's like, why, what's going on here? He's not even saying who he is. It's like kind of she doesn't react to him like she should do, and it's like instead of saying, right, hang on a second, you seem to have another personality. Now you're either bullshitting me. If that's the case, I'm gonna fucking clock you in the face. Yeah. Or you've had a mental breakdown. And if you had a mental breakdown, I think we should take you to the insane asylum. She wasn't the overpowered Mary Sue. They say about there's a scene where she breaks into Arthur Harrow's kind of compound where he's got all these religious nuts. She takes out two people. Yeah, she takes out one person who's the power of surprise, and the other person she makes a fucking meal of hitting. Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't. No, I agree with you. She just was a bit bland and didn't really make much of a difference. I understand partly why she was put there. As female characters in MCU things go, she wasn't that egregious, but she wasn't particularly three-dimensional. But she wasn't. Yeah, no, she wasn't the Mary Sue. She wasn't the awesome out the gate, overpowered kind of thing. No, she wasn't. She had skill. She became towards the end. She was obviously Hippo Lady's.
Hippo Lady's the Red Scarab. The character's name, the superhero character's name, which I didn't cover. So, oh my god, I can't. Towery. I think I have a name. Okay. She was she was her avatar. She was all right in that bit, and it was nice that they kind of, she got to be a hero for a bit, and I like those things where everyone gets their moments. You get to the end of a TV series, and you see the characters have learned, and then when it's now the end of the TV series and the chips are down, and now it's time for them to shine. That I don't know, because it just, I think it distracted me, especially with the stupid thing where it's like kind of, oh my god, we have an Egyptian superhero, and it's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, again, it was one of those things. That one moment was just like, again, what is it with this virtue signaling bullshit? They did it in Endgame with all those women that shot, and it's blatantly obvious what it is, and it takes you out of the story. Yeah, but it was. Yeah, it was other bollocks. But yeah, okay, that one moment was a bit shit, but considering how much of that is in the MCU at the moment, to have only one moment in the whole of the series where that was really there is kind of fair enough. It didn't detract that much. There was enough going on. There was enough action in that scene, and I was waiting for the moment where he did blackout, and it happened.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So we're talking about the end. Right, that bit grated on me, and the reason it grated on me is what you should have done. Yeah, is you should have had it. So blacked out, didn't realize what happened, and then when you had the end credit scene, you should have had it cut to the bit where all of a sudden, boom, he's awake. You get to see the end, doesn't get explained, and then they do the thing with the car. That's what they should have done. So we could have seen it. I know why Disney didn't do it, because they're looking at it going, no, this is bad. Bad people kill people. No. You got the Punisher and Daredevil on your streaming service now. Don't give me that crap. So that's one thing. That really grated on me when it got to the reveal of the Jake character towards the end, because that's why I kind of felt a bit cheated. I know what they were doing, and I was happy with the fact that I knew that they were doing it, and they were indicating that there is a third personality in there, and that Khonshu had something to do with said third personality in there, which worked really well for me. So that was good.
Yeah, I knew Jake was coming.
Good,
I mean, it was obvious that they'd been hinting at him for a while. The taxi in the fifth, because he's a taxi driver in the comic, and I knew that. And I knew when the taxi turned up, I thought they're just hinting it. I mean, the sarcophagus was the big giveaway.
Yes.
I almost wish they hadn't shown that, because that would have been a better reveal. But I get that was there. But again, you see, they showed the sarcophagus. They showed Mark and Stephen backing away from it. So on some subconscious level, they understood what that was and were frightened of it and ran away. The fact that they included that scene is like, well, again, I go back to this, and I know I keep saying this, but there has to be a second season, because you have to explore that. You have to tell us that. Or if you were never going to do that, don't have that. Don't have that scene. Don't play on that, because there's more there. There is more there to explore that you're not doing so. And by having such an obvious scene that there is a third personality, there might as well have been a neon sign. Whereas throughout the rest of it, there's just little subtle hints. That was a sledgehammer of a hint, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. It was it was annoying, but hey, it's one of those things. It's annoying. I find I liked it. I think the thing is, I think I saw more potential in it than should, and you start writing stuff in when you see it like that.
I agree with.
Which is not the best way of watching a bit of TV. But did I watch it and was I bored? No. Did it make me angry? No. Did I watch it and go, oh, I could watch the next one? Yes. So it wasn't. I would describe this if I was to rate and put this in thingy. This is just a bare bones cheese sandwich. Yeah.
I think if this has a second season, the first season will be watchable, and your rewriting won't get as annoyed, because they will explore some of the stuff that they didn't in this series in the next one, which will have that payoff. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? If they do a second season, I think they'll pay off some of the things in here. So I'm hoping beyond hope that this is something that needs that they didn't wrap everything up with a nice bow, if that makes sense.
They didn't. Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I kind of want to see him bounce off some other characters in the MCU. I don't want to see how they react to him having the multiple personalities. That's what I want to see, because you could imagine, there's. I'm trying to think of that character that hasn't been ruined. Struggling.
Well, this is the problem, though. I mean, having seen the MCU has no fucking direction, right? Since Endgame, and I still maintain 5-year time jump, biggest mistake they have made, because they have done absolutely nothing with it. They have not really explored it. It was ignored pretty much in Spider-Man 3. There are throwaway comments in Doctor Strange, and we won't go into Doctor Strange on this one, but suffice it to say, having seen Doctor Strange, there is no direction here, right? So this is the one thing in the MCU that there is some direction. Yes, they could do a film out of it. They could also do another series and explore that, and it could work as either. But they have to do something with it. They can't just leave it there, because if they do, that's it. I'm done with the MCU. I am done with it, because this is the only thing that's got me marginally interested. That and a possible Spider-Man 4, if they do it the right way. I do it the right way.
All right, let's wrap this up. So I'm all right. So my rating on the food scale, is a cheese sandwich with a glass of orange squash. Okay, it's not perfect. It will sustain you, and it is edible. Unlike previous ones, like Falcon the Winter Soldier, which I would describe as a mouldy tuna sandwich.
I love a shit sandwich.
A glass of piss.
I would agree with your review thing, and I'd add a packet of KPs.
Packet of KP. What, nuts or skips?
Crisps, mate. Oh, skips. No, skips. Yeah, I'll give you that.
KP skips. Yeah, sorry, I just need to make sure. Because it could be KP nuts or skips. Anyway, guys, we are going to do another part just for the podcast listeners only. So if you're watching this and you want to know our thoughts on some other things that have come up, you're going to have to listen to the podcast, which is available at mnp.ninja, or you can find it on all good podcast directories. So we'll say goodbye for now.
And yeah, I will say goodbye. And Biffa, I'm going to address your last comment in the podcast because I agree.
Unfortunately, you're going to have to
listen to the podcast on all good podcast directories and the bad ones. Bye.
Yes, and the bad ones. Bye-bye.